Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Aamir, and this is my story about how I became Muslim. I guess I grew up in what would be considered a Christian family, although having said that, my father was really not a practicing Christian, and throughout my life I started going to Sunday school, etc., as people do, but really throughout my life I never really accepted the teachings of Christianity. I always found that the convoluted explanations about the Trinity, why it can be, why three can be one, just not acceptable, and it drove me from religion, because there was growing up in Australia, well, as far as I was aware, I'm sure that was completely incorrect, but as far as I was aware, there was not many other options. And so I guess I grew up, and eventually into my 20s I was pretty much an agnostic. And basically being agnostic, I just didn't have the knowledge of religion, of God, of the true concept of what God was. I remember actually in my 20s I used to lay in bed sometimes and I used to ponder about life and death, and I was really get stressed about it, like, you know, what's going on in this world, what's going on in this life, why am I here? And I didn't really have any answers to that. So basically in 2001, ironically enough, after the September 11 attacks, when that happened, nothing about Islam really came to me, but I do recall after that there was a lot of negative press about Islam, and alhamdulillah, this is one of the things I think that Allah Ta'ala blessed me with, is that I've never been a person that accepts blindly what I hear on the media or anywhere, really. So I thought to myself, okay, there's apparently and literally millions of people around the world are Muslim. They can't be these evil people that are being made out to be. So I thought that, and I didn't really know where to look for any information. So a few more months went by, and I actually was sitting at home, and I just downloaded this new program on my computer called ICQ, which is a chat program, and I opened it up, and the first person that flashed up on it in a little chat box was a Muslim. And so I thought, oh, that's fantastic. So I started asking them, and about that time of the year, I think it was towards the end of the year, December, I think, yeah, 2001, that would have been around about Hajj time, and I asked them, you know, why do all these people dress the same? They go there, they bow, and they do all these things. So this person explained to me about Hajj and how it's a pillar of their religion, and I thought that was quite interesting. We talked about the Prophet Muhammad, we talked about quite a number of things, but then what really got to me was this person who I'd never met before, I'd never met face to face. They said to me, I'll tell you what, I'll post you some books about Islam. And I was saying, and how do you want me to pay for that? And they go, no, I'll post you books. This person lived in another country, and they're prepared to spend, well, what would have been a significant amount of money to post all these books to me. So I received these books, and I read them with quite a lot of interest, and what really struck me was about the simplicity of Tawheed, or the oneness of God in Islam. There was none of this convoluted arguments about why God is three, and it says La ilaha illallah, God is one. And that really started my interest in really investigating more about Islam. And the more I read, the more I thought, wow, I can't deny anything I've read. And then I was reading parts about the Quran about science, which was something I had an interest in, and there was parts about embryology, and there was parts about geology. And some of this stuff was like, there was no way on earth a guy who was alive 1400 years ago, there's no way on earth he knew this stuff. He just didn't know it. He was given this by God, and I couldn't deny that. So yeah, I pretty much accepted Islam right then, and I guess I lived as a Muslim for probably a few months. Like I'd pray, I sort of taught myself to pray and things like that. And then I thought to myself, well, I should really try and meet some Muslims. Unfortunately, I was chatting with this person who I'd met originally online, and they said, well, yeah, contact the local association. So I did that, and I rang what was the Dawa Association here in Perth, spoke to a brother, and he was going away, I think, but he said, I have 2 other brothers who can come and see you. And I said, okay, fantastic. And sure enough, about a week later, I think it was, and I took Shahada in front of them. And alhamdulillah, it was amazing. It was like this great big huge weight just lifted off my shoulders, and yeah, alhamdulillah. Yeah, alhamdulillah, with my family particularly, I didn't really face any challenges. I mean, I've heard a lot of stories of other reverts who've had a lot of issues. But no, I mean, most of them are non-practicing. Well, I wouldn't even call them Christians really. They're just like the majority of Westerners nowadays. They're pretty much agnostic. They don't really go to church. They don't do any form of religious worship. I suppose I was probably considered a little bit strange by them because here's a member of the family who's actually worshipping God, and which was a little bit unusual. As I said, my mother was quite religious, but she passed away some years ago, and all my brothers and sisters and my father, they've never really been religious. I've talked to them a lot about Islam, and inshallah, Allah Ta'ala will guide them one day. As far as my friends go, initially they were all okay with it too, but over time you find that you sort of drift apart from them, mostly because I was no longer this person who could go down to the local pub and have some beers with them and go to their barbecue and also, drink. I guess it revolving, as it does in this society, around alcohol and unfortunately the importance of it. But yeah, alhamdulillah, I didn't really face too many challenges, and I've developed some great relationship with Muslim brothers, and alhamdulillah, it's fantastic. Okay, my favourite thing about Islam, I really could be honestly say there's nothing that I have a favourite thing in Islam, but as I said before, the concept of God being one was something which I just found so refreshing, and just like it just made Islam easy to accept, and yeah, it was just a weight off my shoulders. I just I just found it amazing that all these years I've been living thinking, what is it about God? I couldn't, I didn't have any information that was logical to me, which made sense, and all of a sudden, wow, this religion said, wow, there's only one God. So. Yeah, I do. I've got 2 boys now, so, now, I've had them for a while. One's 15 and one's 13. I give them advice all the time. Whether they listen is another story. But as far as advice to other Muslims, when you're talking to people, whether it be Muslims or non-Muslims, don't be harsh with them. Be gentle with people. I find we tend to, as Muslims, get very worked up about things and quite aggressive sometimes. It's not the way to go, and it's certainly not the way of the Prophet ﷺ. Be gentle with people when you're talking to them. Be nice to people. Say hello to people. Just smile at people. You never know. That sort of kindness may lead these people through you, by the guidance of Allah, to become Muslim.